Charlotte Casiraghi, the 35-year-old granddaughter of Princess Grace of Monaco, is not easily characterized. Unlike many young royals, she is defined not by titles or tradition, but by her intellect, ambition, and versatility. As Pauline Delassus of Paris Match describes her, she is serious, studious, persevering, a competitor, discreet, smart, and cultured. Qualities that set her apart in a world where aristocratic figures are often reduced to their social status. What makes Casiraghi truly remarkable is how she has woven these attributes into a diverse and dynamic life. She has effortlessly moved between worlds, embracing multiple roles: published author, magazine editor, film producer, model, equestrian, and co-founder of a philosophical think tank. Her deep love for literature and philosophy has not only shaped her career, but has also led her to become a spokesperson and ambassador for Chanel, where she now continues the legacy of her late friend and mentor, Karl Lagerfeld. Whether gracing the front row at Fashion Week or competing in elite equestrian events, Casiraghi embodies a modern form of aristocracy, one that values intelligence, artistry, and independence as much as elegance and heritage. Charlotte Marie Pauline Casiraghi was born on August 3, 1986, at Prince Grace Hospital in Monaco, to Princess Caroline of Monaco and Italian financier Stefano Casiraghi. Her name was chosen in honor of Princess Charlotte, Duchess of Valentinos, her maternal grandmother, a woman known for her independent spirit and unconventional life choices. Princess Caroline shared in a 2020 interview with Madame Figaro, highlighting the remarkable legacy left by the Duchess. She was a very free woman and an original. She was a nurse during the war, then ran a rehabilitation center for ex-convicts, totally unclassifiable. Charlotte and her brothers, Andrea and Pierre, were largely shielded from public scrutiny in their early years, even when being a part of Monaco's royal lineage. While Monaco's ruling family carried a certain level of prestige, they were not the subject to the same relentless media attention as the British royalty. Pauline Delassus of Paris Match magazine states, "Most of the media view Monaco's ruling family as a frivolous entertainment. They are not royals, they are not part of the Gotha. They have an old history, but it's such a small territory that there are not a lot of political and economic stakes." It was this environment that Charlotte was allowed a relatively normal upbringing, away from the pressures of royal expectations. However, her childhood was marked by a devastating loss that would change everything. On October 3, 1990, when Charlotte was just 4 years old, her father, Stefano Casiraghi, was killed in a tragic speedboat accident off the coast of Saint Jean Cap Ferrat. The news was so heartbreaking that Princess Caroline, overwhelmed by grief, could not bring herself to tell her children. Instead, it was left to Prince Rainier to break the news to Charlotte and her brothers. "When I think about him, I remember his courage," Casiraghi has said of her father. "Everything he did reminds me of how brave he was. Losing someone, somehow, makes you take on that courage to get over the anguish and fear that it provokes. I could say that my dad gave me courage." With her father having passed away so early on in her life, a young Charlotte turned to her mother and relied on her for emotional support throughout her childhood. She formed a deep bond with her highly cultured and multilingual mother, Princess Caroline, and Casiraghi often says that she recognizes glimpses of her late grandmother, Grace Kelly, in her. Reflecting on their connection, she acknowledges the profound influence a mother holds over her daughter, regardless of how nurturing and affectionate she may be. Casiraghi shared during a joint interview with Princess Caroline in 2020, "The relationship between a mother and a daughter is a complex thing. The mother occupies an all-powerful place, even when she is loving and tender." She also spoke of the striking similarities between her mother and grandmother, noting, "When I watch films of my grandmother, I see her in your grace, your discipline, and your mystery too." In both women, she recognizes an enduring elegance, quiet strength, and an air of enigma that continues to shape her own identity. After that incident, a distraught Princess Caroline retreated for a time from her official duties. Devastated by the tragedy, she sought to shield her children from the pressures of royal life, leading them to spend much of their early years in the French countryside. Pauline Delassus of Paris Match magazine says, "It was a privileged childhood in terms of wealth, obviously, but Charlotte grew up in the Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, a village in Provence. She went to public school and had a low-key, everyday life. The death of her father was very traumatic for her and her brothers. Their mother wanted to protect them and raise them away from the Monaco uproar. That is partially how she became a very good student and got interested in horse riding. She was a serious teenager, never a party girl, even if most of her friends were part of jet-set families. Unlike many aristocrats who rely solely on their family name, Charlotte pursued an academic path that set her apart. She studied philosophy at the Sorbonne University of Paris IV, where she developed a passion for existentialism, literature, and political theory. This intellectual curiosity was not a passing interest, but a defining aspect of her personality, leading her to co-found Les Rencontres Philosophiques de Monaco, a platform dedicated to promoting philosophical discussion in Monaco. Through this initiative, she sought to encourage deep thinking and debate, proving that her interests extend far beyond the superficial expectations often placed upon royalty. This dedication to philosophy and intellectual engagement adds another layer to her identity, distinguishing her from the traditional image of a princess. But Charlotte is not only a scholar, she is also an athlete, and one of her greatest passions is equestrianism. Horses have played an essential role in her life since childhood, and she has competed professionally in show jumping, a sport that requires immense skill, discipline, and a deep connection with the animal. Her love of riding extends beyond competition. She has described it as both a physical and spiritual pursuit, one that fosters intuition, balance, and resilience. Her success in the equestrian world led her to becoming an ambassador for Gucci's equestrian line, as well as being featured in Chanel's Spring-Summer 22 Haute Couture show at the Grand Palais Éphémère, where her presence was unknown until the runway moment when the audience was met with an unexpected yet stunning opening. Casiraghi, gracefully riding into the spotlight on horseback. This opportunity perfectly combined her love of riding with her natural presence in the fashion world. Her involvement in fashion, however, goes beyond mere appearances. A close friend and muse of the late Karl Lagerfeld, Charlotte has been the face of Chanel for many years and has graced the covers of Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and Vanity Fair. At just 12 years old, she helped Lagerfeld organize his extensive library in Biarritz, a telling sign of her intellectual curiosity and of the attention she was getting at such an early age from icons like Lagerfeld. Casiraghi serves as a literary ambassador for Chanel, and she champions female writers, drawing attention to figures such as Ingeborg Bachmann and Virginia Woolf. When asked about her strong interest in female writers, Casiraghi says, "Reading a lot of female writers has helped me to not live by expectations and judgments. For me, it's important to be free from certain conventions." She actively engages in the literary scene, hosting live interviews and podcasts with contemporary authors like Leila Slimani and Siri Hustvedt, using her platform to celebrate literature and elevate important voices in modern storytelling. She also has experience as a magazine editor and journalist, contributing to publications such as Another Magazine, where she explored the themes of art, literature, and philosophy. Her ability to blend fashion with intellect makes her a unique figure in both industries, proving that sophistication is about more than just aesthetics. It's about depth and curiosity. Despite her global fame, Charlotte has always maintained a private and grounded personal life. In 2013, she welcomed her first son, Raphael, with French comedian Gad Elmaleh, though their relationship eventually ended not long afterwards. In 2019, she married Dimitri Rassam, a French film producer and the son of actress Carole Bouquet, further entwining her life within the worlds of art and culture. Together, they share a son, Balthazar, solidifying her role as a devoted mother. Even in her personal life, Charlotte walks the delicate line between public fascination and personal privacy, navigating both with a level of sophistication that mirrors the legacy of her grandmother, Grace Kelly. Through her achievements in philosophy, equestrianism, fashion, and media, Charlotte Casiraghi represents a new version of aristocracy, one that values intelligence and independence just as much as elegance and tradition. Unlike many royals who are confined to ceremonial duties, she has actively shaped her own narrative, proving that legacy is not just about where you come from, but how you define yourself. In a time when monarchies are often questioned for their relevance, Charlotte offers a fresh perspective, one where loyalty is not just about titles and crowns, but about character, intellect, and passion. Charlotte Casiraghi is more than just a princess without a title. She is a thinker, an athlete, a fashion muse, and a mother. She honors her grandmother's legacy not by following in her footsteps, but by forging her own path, blending tradition with modernity, and proving that true elegance is not just about how you look, but how you think, live, and inspire.